I am a Reva and I was taught how to pray Salah.
That means every single time I pray,
the person who told me gets the reward.
5 times a day, from Fajr to Isha.
If you want to support someone like me in learning Salah,
Then sponsor 10 people for just £100.
remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
Charity does not decrease wealth. Click the button and donate now.
Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to another episode of Smile to Jannah. So a few bits of news to cover since we met last time. One was Trump saying, I've decimated all of the nuclear sites yet. This is a resounding victory. We have solved world peace. Right, let's see what his own media is saying.
After the US sent its B-2s to drop so-called bunker-busting bombs on Iran's nuclear sites, Trump claimed to have obliterated its nuclear program. But one...
Absolutely. So that's the quote, yeah? He obliterated their nuclear program. Let's see.
man's obliteration is another's short setback. A humiliating leak from the Pentagon saying it may have delayed it by just a few months.
A few months? A few months? Is that it? A few months? We thought it was a resounding victory. They went into another country at the behest of Israel, bombed it. Now they appeared. They want to close off the Strait of Hormuz. They did a symbolic bombing of the American base. They want to stop the non-proliferation treaty, which means they are now not wanting to restrict their nuclear weapons. Even their clashes with the IAEA is happening now as well. In other words, they have pissed Iran off. At what cost? A few months? Is that it? And before, when it came to his own intelligence head Tulsi Gabbard saying they don't have, according to our intelligence, they don't have nuclear weapons, he said, yeah, I reject that, mate. What's he gonna do? Is it reject the intelligence? Reject now the Pentagon?
Another's short setback. A humiliating leak from the Pentagon saying it may have delayed it by just a few months.
Back to our breaking news now. Sources telling CNN that according to an early U.S. intelligence assessment, the U.S. military strikes on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities last weekend did not destroy the core components of the country's nuclear program.
The core components, that was the second part of the argument. They were like, yeah, we can't wipe out the whole thing, obviously. They've got knowledge in their heads and you can't wipe that out by putting bunker busters down there, mate. But at least we got the juice, we got the nectar, we got the main thing, the core element. And we find out even that's not done.
Cue fury at a press conference in The Hague this morning. The US president comparing the operation to the deadly nuclear bombs that brought an end to...
Oh no, that just adds insult to injury. He's now comparing it to the atom bombs that they dropped on a already surrendered Japan. Yes, you need to read A People's History of America by Howard Zinn to realize that wasn't exactly the best decision that America made, or the most humane decision rather, because they will argue it was the best decision for them. But was it But he's referencing that over here with this failure. That's 2 failures. 0 plus 0, mate.
Had we not succeeded with that hit ended the war. That hit
ended the war, mate. It solved world hunger. It fixed world peace.
Ended the war. I don't want to use an example of Hiroshima. I don't want to use an example of Nagasaki. But that was essentially the same thing. CNN is scum.
I don't want to use the same example, but they're the same thing. Yeah, I'll use that example, but I don't want to use it as I'm using it.
I think basically decades, because I don't think they'll ever do it again.
Not so, according to the leaked interim report. Officials telling the New York Times that while entrances to 2 facilities were sealed off,
Entrances were sealed off. Yeah, sealed off, you can unseal it. It's not permanent. It can easily be resolved. Sealing an entrance, claiming, yeah, I've solved everything, mate. I've stopped the war. I've locked the door, mate. Yeah, they can't get in. Yes, sir, they're getting in through the window. These geniuses.
Underground buildings were intact, with Iran retaining control of almost all of its nuclear material. Although just an initial assessment, its words are a body blow to Trump's administration, saying Iran's program could be revived in less...
What do you mean a body blow? That's a complete blow. How is that doing anything? Aren't you meant to be the biggest superpower on the planet? Weren't you the big guys? Let that be a lesson to you people. Can you stop going in through the chimney? Now, another thing that I wanted to bring your attention to is NATO is just, you know, a collection of European countries. And we all know they are in the pocket of Trump. And their chief, listen to what he called Trump. Yeah, this is the talk of the town.
You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes, then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to get them.
I beg your pardon? Daddy? Who are you calling daddy, mate? Trump? Oh, what a surprise. What a...
Strong, every once in a while you have to use a certain word. You can't stop them.
Yeah, every now and then you gotta call me daddy. Yeah, and you know what I mean? Like, say it in front of the camera so everybody knows I'm your daddy. Then the White House started taking the mick. Yeah, they uploaded a track called Daddy's Home. They used the track by Usher. Daddy's Home. That's what the track is, yeah? And then it says the White House celebrated President Donald Trump's return from the NATO summit with a music video to Usher's hit Hey Daddy. The montage came after NATO chief Mark Rutte was forced to publicly backtrack after he appeared to refer to Trump as daddy. Why? I mean, it's people already know. That's how you guys, you know what I mean? But let's see his groveling apology.
The daddy thing, I didn't call him daddy. What I said
is... I didn't call him daddy. Yeah, here's a clip of you saying daddy. But I didn't call him daddy. I actually meant something else. Okay, tell us what you meant.
That sometimes in Europe, I hear sometimes countries saying, hey Mark, will the US stay with us?
Nah, he's waffling. Let's see what Trump said.
Hello. Deborah Haynes from Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO...
Okay, this one's better. The other ones, they've edited it, yeah? I think I found
chief,
it.
Who is your friend. He called you daddy earlier. Do you...
Look at that. Look at his face change.
Regard your NATO allies.
That grin. There's just a smile. He's trying to mask it. That guy couldn't hold it in. Pathetic. Europe is pathetic, yeah? You can't blame them because obviously America's the superpower and East versus West. Either you're with Russia or you're with America, and they've opted with America. We know geopolitics. We know how things work. But don't try and make it seem like you're independent. You're making your own decisions and you're doing it based upon human rights. No, you're doing it because of daddy. That's why you're doing it.
As kind of children.
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No?
Hit him hard. Where? Where you can hit him hard? Is this okay for kids? Like, what do you mean?
I want to give you an...
This is ABC News Australia, and they're talking about how much freedom of speech Israel has given to the media. Yeah, that you're getting all of these clips about what Iran is doing in Israel. Surely what we're seeing in the mainstream media is what's happening, because that's what journalism is about. And if it's not, surely it's going to be everywhere that they are stopping us. They are preventing us from doing the journalism.
Insight into what it's like to report on this conflict between Israel and Iran, particularly what we can and can't report here in Israel. The country's chief censor has issued some rules to try to limit what sort of information we can share with you about the impact of missile barrages from Iran. The idea is...
Surely you want to show the impact Iran is doing everywhere, no?
Is that Israel doesn't want to let its staunch enemy know exactly how successful its strikes have been. For example...
But the Western media has been relying on Israel's coverage. Anytime it's Hamas or Iran, they make it very clear that this is footage from Iran and Hamas. However, when it comes to daddy Israel, you know what? If Trump is the daddy, yeah, then Israel is the granddaddy. They're the daddy of the daddy. And that's why they're able to dictate to the Western media, and they're like, yes, sir, 3 bags full, sir.
But we can tell you if a residential building is hit, and if, for example, a hospital has been damaged, as was the case last week with a strike in Beersheba. But we can't technically tell you if a military facility is hit by a missile.
Why? Is it because of national security? Is it because you want to protect the only Jewish nation? Tell us, Matthew. Tell us.
Beyond that, if an apartment building is struck and it's near a military facility, we also might not be able to tell you.
Okay, so even if it's not near there, yeah? Why? National security, yeah? Safety of the entire nation, yeah?
About that. And I'm not just talking about not being able to go out to that site and report live from the scene. The censors are telling us we can't report about it at all, full stop. If we're found in breach of those rules, the censor can report...
You can't talk about it, full stop? What do you mean? How dare somebody say that to you, the media?
Report us to the police for investigation. And in a worst case scenario, we could face jail time. Now the censor is...
Jail time! I thought this was the only democracy in the Middle East, ladies and gentlemen. What the heck is going on here? Another thing is, let's see, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
We have some breaking news right now to share with you. This is the first intelligence assessment.
So CNN covered it again, yeah? Let's see. So they're talking about the first intelligence assessment
from U.S. intelligence about what was really accomplished in those massive U.S. strikes on Iran over the weekend. This is from one of the intelligence agencies, as I said, the DIA. So it's just one of several. So
they're just trying to cover their back, yeah? An intelligence assessment is an intelligence assessment, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. It's an assessment. It is to be taken seriously.
Take it in that context, but they assess that the strikes only set Iran's nuclear program back by months.
Embarrassing. That's a failure. This is another one. Apparently, the new mayor of New York City is someone called Mamdani. I think that's his name. He's a Muslim socialist. Here was Bernie Sanders, who was backing him alongside AOC, and Bernie Sanders was on Joe Rogan, and here's a clip that I think encapsulated the fight really well, yeah?
Did you watch the New York City debates, the mayoral debates?
I got involved, and I'm supporting Mr. Mamdani.
A lot of people are, especially after that debate.
Right.
It seems like everybody else was essentially saying, I've been to Israel more than you've been to Israel. I'm going to go.
Remember, this was a vote for the mayor of New York City, yeah? And they're being asked, where would you go?
To Israel before you do.
Right, they think they're campaigning to be foreign, minister for Israel or something.
Where would you go first?
The Holy Land.
Go to Israel.
Fourth trip to Israel. First trip to Israel.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City.
How dare you say you'd stay in New York City and not go to Israel and kiss the wall? What on earth is wrong with you? Are you an anti-Semite? Do you want to vanquish the Jewish people from the planet? Are you against Israel from existing? Even when he went on Colbert, the late night TV show, that was the first thing that he was asked. He's running for the mayor of New York City, and he's being asked, the first question is, does Israel have a right to exist? You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. And this guy did his research very well. He digs up.
Was going to win.
Why is he still running? Yeah, he digs up what the people on Twitter were saying. About Mamdani. Remember, the guy is not a terrorist. The guy does not have those sorts of links. Let's see how people are still speaking to him and referring to him.
Yesterday, when people realized that Zohran Mamdani was going to win, some of the most insane people started to say the most insane things. Laura Loomer, there will be another 9/11 in New York City. And
that's mental. A guy who happens to be Muslim is running for mayor and they are invoking 9/11. How odd. How strange.
And
She's a Zionist, by the way.
Mamdani will be to blame. Charlie Kirk, 24 years ago, a group of
Charlie Kirk as well. We've mentioned this prat many times.
Muslims killed 2,753 people on 9/11. Now, a Muslim socialist is on pace to run New York City. Benny Johnson, New York City in 2001.
He refers to him as a jihadist. Let me just forward it. The destruction of Christians, one guy says. The other one says a proud Muslim terrorist. That's Randy Fine. Okay, here's the tweet. Randy Fine said, "There is a reason the first time I shook Netanyahu's hand, I did not wash it until I could touch the heads of my children." These are the people that are elected to look over the American people, ladies and gentlemen. And they have an issue with somebody that actually wants to help the American people, that actually wants to stay in New York City as opposed to run off to Israel at the first sign of victory. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it just gets worse and worse. This page calls him a radical Muslim, says NYC is effed. And the last thing that I wanted to cover, ladies and gentlemen, was this, yeah.
Why? He had this meme on his phone, Minister. A young Norwegian tourist detained by ICE at Newark Airport and sent back to Oslo. A meme depicting Vice President J.D. Vance.
This was a meme, yeah? This was a meme depicting J.D. Vance, a meme that even J.D. himself participated in. This Norwegian had it on his phone. As they were searching it, he was detained and sent back. Freedom of speech? But this is a meme. Or for a meme? Another individual puts an emoji of a rat, which is depicted, oh, that was Gary Lineker. Emoji of a rat, and that's it. Everyone's up in arms. I'm sorry, do you not hear yourself when you talk about freedom of speech and you've got stuff like this going on? Are you guys for real? Let's behave ourselves. Yeah, let's sit down and let's analyze what the fish is going on. Yeah, or what the Israel is going on with the West. You guys need to fight for freedom. That's what you need to do. You guys need to realize how occupied you are mentally and physically by Israel. Let's leave it there until next time. Assalamu alaikum.